We are on our way to a house party in Orlando with Casual Swingers, and we thought we'd take the time to hop on here and talk about the three back-to-back crazy weekends we are having, and just kind of let you know our thoughts about those weekends.
So we're going to do a quick recap of last weekend, which was our Mixology event in Huntsville, Alabama. And that was a series of really like 6 events that we did over the span of the weekend. Right.
And we are on our way to Orlando for this coming weekend's house party with Casual Swingers. And then
not just a house party, though, we are also going to check out a venue for a possible event that we'll be going to do tentatively late next year in Orlando.
And then the weekend after that, we're going to be having a party that's not in our comfort zone in Tennessee. And so we're going to recap each of those events from our perspective in 3 separate videos. This first one will be, though, about our event that happened this past weekend.
Yeah. So take it away, Scott.
Well, this is our second local paid event. We have done 2 previous ones before that were free. And this one is called Mixology.
Yep.
And this is really built off the concept that April came up with, because one of the things that we tend to not like about little weekend takeovers or weekend house parties is sometimes the feeling of pressure that comes from playrooms in the back of the building or the playroom at the place where we're having the party.
Yeah, it sometimes, for me anyways, just feels like the elephant in the room. Like, we know the playroom's there. We know that most people's goal when they go to a party with a playroom is to get to that playroom, find the people they want to play with. And I feel like that is, for me, a distraction. And it feels like pressure. Our events that we've been doing locally don't have playrooms, but there is a hotel within 400 feet of the venue. So if somebody wanted to, they could go back to their hotel room. But I think this allows people to maybe relax a little bit.
And to focus on, connecting with people, having conversations, getting to know people better, and without worrying who's about to pop do you want to go to the playroom question first, or should I pop that question? It just takes that out of the equation and leaves it for another time.
Yeah, and I really wasn't sure how many other people would like that as much as I did. And to be honest, I'm still not really sure how many people like that as much as I do. We get pretty good feedback from the people who've attended the last few events. But still, you just never know.
Well,
these aren't sellouts, right? Mixology wasn't a sellout.
But they've grown.
But they've definitely grown. And we had a really good crowd. But yeah, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, and we do get questions from people before they register for the event. Some people will ask, so we didn't see, is there a playroom at this event? Maybe they didn't read the description completely. And we know that typically when somebody's asking us this question, it's probably because they're surprised there isn't one. And usually the people asking that question are asking because they want one.
Right.
Which is fine.
Right.
For a lot of people, that's the big draw. Hey, I have this Friday and Saturday night without my kids. It's hard for us to get babysitters, and it's hard for us to get away because we're busy. And this is our opportunity to get out there and make a connection and have sex with somebody new. And that's totally fine.
Well, we also had people ask this time, which kind of surprised me a little bit, can I see the guest list before I register? And I'm like, absolutely not. Are you out of your fucking mind? That would be a huge breach of privacy, as we have. So Mixology was a series of 6 events. 2 of those were public events, were open to anybody. They were at a public venue. One was a casual meet and greet at a bar in Huntsville. The other was a lunch at a brewery. But not everybody who signed up for Mixology attended all 6 events. Some people are very concerned with their privacy. So the 4 other events that we had were ticketed behind a private door, security at the door. And so like people aren't just going to run into you like coworkers or something like that unless they had also purchased a ticket. So because there's people that are really concerned for their.
So when we do these events at a public venue, like our meet and greet was at that cocktail bar, it's interesting because we'll have 60 or 70 of our people there mixing in with the regular customers for that night. And we put up a little sign that says Naughty Jim at a table, and we usually kind of try to keep to a certain area of the bar. But
We'll give out like wristbands so you can identify who's with you.
But invariably, there's going to be some mixing, and I've actually hit on somebody that I didn't realize wasn't part of our group one time.
But also, yeah, we've connected with some really cool people that way that were curious about the lifestyle and had no idea. But also, a really beautiful thing has happened that we've started to make more connections in the LGBTQIA community because they didn't know there was a place like this or a group like this that did events that made them also feel seen and acknowledged. And the bars love having us because our people tip so fucking well and are so respectful.
Yeah.
We've never had any complaints. They love having us. The waitresses and bartenders are always like, you guys are our favorite group. We love when you guys come. So that is always really good to hear.
So those are the 3 events on Friday. And so now you've had this mixology class, the connection circles, and then there was a gap between the connection circle event and the cocktail party that night, which allowed people, if they wanted to, anybody they've met so far through the day, to make dinner plans and go out and have even more connections. So by the time people get to the cocktail party that night.
And that's kind of something fun that I didn't anticipate. I guess I didn't even think about it because I had to run back. We were babysitting our grand dog this weekend, bad planning. And so we didn't get a room in Huntsville like we did last time because I knew I would have to run back, take the dog for a walk, let it out of its crate, love on it a little bit, and then change and rush back. So I left you in Huntsville, and Matt and Cara and I ran back home, let the dog out, changed, grabbed a bite to eat real quick, and then we came back. So we kind of missed that organic connections. But when I get into a weekend like this, I'm so focused on the details that I lose sight of that kind of stuff sometimes, of the just like relax, go with the flow. But it was really great to hear that nobody else forgot about that.
I mean, you left me in Huntsville, and I got to go to dinner with a group of about 8 people that were attending the event, some great friends and some people I had never met before. And that was great for me. And then when dinner was over, and there were a lot of people doing that, they were at different places around downtown Huntsville having dinner. Then we get to the cocktail mixer that night, and everybody is just, I mean, there was little pockets of conversation all over that cocktail bar, and you can tell people were having a blast.
Yeah, I loved it. So the next day, we had lunch at the brewery, and I wish we had more time there because so many people showed up at the brewery that weren't able to make it either the night before or for Saturday night. And we saw some old friends that had come up from the Gulf Coast, and there was just so many people there. It was so much fun. And then, but we had to leave because we had to get ready for our next event.
And this brewery was absolutely monstrous, so huge that we were allowed to take over an entire upstairs area that overlooked the brewery without reserving it. It just, there was so much room. We had our own private space. That kind of turned out fortunate for us. So there was lunch. We immediately left lunch and drove back downtown to our official event center, which is also incredibly nice. One of the nicest event spaces in the whole city.
Yeah.
Where we were going to do the
speed dating.
Speed dating.
Yep.
I'm going blank on the name. So we were doing speed dating. Again, another event focused on creating those connections prior to the major party.
Right. And when we do speed dating, we've done speed dating now at so many different places and or hosted it. And I was kind of shocked because I thought there's only so many ways you could do speed dating. But We had a lot of people say they'd never done speed dating like that, and they absolutely loved it. We have couples go from couple to couple. There were also some singles in there that had a wonderful time. But I think it went really, really well. You can't get people to stop talking.
Yeah, and people are worried, like, well, we don't know what questions to ask, what to say. We give people some starter questions.
Yeah, little form
they
questions.
could use, and that always makes people, before the event starts, feel comfortable that, okay, I've got some good questions to ask. And in every single case, after the first little speed date that they go through with the first couple, nobody ever uses the cards again, because they realize, oh, this is a piece of cake and so easy, and I don't need the questions, because everybody just starts asking,
Right.
Getting to know people. And when it's time, usually we go 3 minutes, we have to start literally yelling in the microphone to get people to move, because it just moves so quick.
Yeah.
And people are having so much fun meeting everybody.
And then once again, we had to leave and go home, let the dog out, take him for a walk.
And Jay, there was a pretty big gap between the speed dating session that afternoon.
I think we left at like 4:30 or 5, and then we had to be back by 8:30 because the event at the evening started at 9. And the venue that we work with is so fucking amazing. We really have very little that we have to do to get ready. They get it. They have it all done for us. They know, we pitch the vision to them, and they execute it so beautifully.
And again, we had that gap between the afternoon event and the big party that night. All of the people were not hooking up. They were.
Maybe they were. We don't know.
They were making dinner dates and going all over downtown Huntsville and just, getting to explore the city. And that was great to hear. And so that now we've had 5 events. We've had people going to different dinners 2 nights in a row. There is so much connection and chemistry built up among the group by the time the main party starts on Saturday night, that once the music starts, it's just a blast from start to finish. It doesn't take long for people to find their groove and rhythm at the party.
Right. Yeah. The party started at 9. The first hour was kind of like a mingle cocktail hour. We had like some charcuterie boards and stuff that we had brought in.
A world-class bar. Huge,
oh God, the bar is
bar.
so beautiful. The bartenders are amazing.
Second event in a row where one of the bartenders ended up out there on the dance floor with us.
Yeah, he taught me a new dance. We had a fire dancer, super sexy fire dancer. I had so many people come up to me asking where she was from. She's a local. She did an amazing job. And then DJ Taka. So yeah, once the dance party started, I flipped my switch. I was done. I wish
I was done working.
I was done working. Yeah, work April. I put her to bed, and woke up unhinged April.
we had 2 of our very best friends that we didn't think were going to get to show up, and some kind of surprised us, and that was exciting. We just had a great crowd.
With several couples that we know that we didn't know were going to show up that showed up. Several.
So there ended up being 80-something people at the final party, which was great for us. That's the biggest group we've had so far. And again, it just keeps getting bigger each event, so we're thankful for that. But yeah, we partied until the place had to close, and we know people were then making plans to go back to their hotel rooms. Some of them had made
some left early, some
And we're literally, the party venue sits right in the middle of downtown Huntsville, and there's hotels all around you. So everybody just walked, the 2 or 3 minutes back to their hotel.
Well, and some people made dates for brunch the next day. Some made dates for dinner the next day. We heard lots of stories about people like, oh, well, I've got a date tomorrow night with this couple, or I've got a date for brunch with this couple. And that was really good to hear, because that is why we are doing this, so that you can make connections like that. And there were so many people that showed up that were new to our area that hadn't found a community yet. And that's what I loved. They were like, we had no idea there was this many people in this area, and I hadn't connected with anybody yet. And so
that's really the primary reason we're doing this, is to build that social network in our hometown area, so that people have a group that they feel safe with.
And it doesn't have to be about sex. It can be about like, hey, let's go play golf, or just go dinner and a movie. But it's people that you can talk about anything with. You can be authentically yourself. You don't have to hide anything. It doesn't have to be sexual. Just meeting a friend that you can share your lifestyle journey with is so valuable.
But if you make that phenomenal
Yeah.
connection and if you want it to be
Kudos
sexual,
to you too.
go to your room and have a blast. And so we really are starting to feel like we're getting dialed in on the formula that may work best for these types of parties. And we don't think these parties are for everybody.
Right.
If you are in that sort of lifestyle genre that you like going to fuck parties, more power to you. And we've got
But I
one.
think even people like that would like a party like this. It's just something new, something different. When we started the lifestyle, I said, I don't want any friends. I'm in this just for the sex. That's the first thing I said, because it kind of scared me, the thought of like, oh, we're going to make connections. What does that mean? Does that mean you're going to fall in love with somebody else? And that's not at all what it is. And now I'm like, I don't want to be in this unless I'm making connections with people and meeting amazing people. We have now amazing friends all over the fucking world. And we'll have conversations like, do they have any idea how dorky we are? Like,
We almost don't have any friends now that aren't non-monogamous to some degree.
right, or in the lifestyle or LGBTQ or whatever. In fact, we had several members of the LGBTQ community that maybe aren't necessarily lifestyle, but they're allies, that came to this event. And we had a conversation with one, and they said, we have never felt more seen than we did at this event. I didn't know there was communities like this. There was no judgment. All I felt was love and kindness. And that's what this is about.
Yeah. The idea that we could create an event that feels inclusive, safe, and welcoming to absolutely anybody is the goal that we're after.
Absolutely.
I think we're hitting that.
So we will do it again. We are talking about just another casual free meet and greet in November. We've got to look at some dates and talk to the venues.
And we are heading down, so we'll have another one of these videos that kind of recaps our experience at the Casual Swingers
house party
that we're headed to now,
and the resort that we're going to take a look at.
And then we will have another one that should be very interesting, because the following weekend we go to an event that's called a Rubik's Cube party, and they just say in the event page that this is a fuck party. Now that is way out of our comfort zone.
But these are also people that would not, nobody's going to force you to do anything that you don't want to do. And so we just wanted to try something new, see what it's like, meet some new people.
So we'll report on that one too after it's over. So I hope you find this interesting. Leave us a like or a comment, and especially subscribe to the channel, because that really helps spread the word, and more people will see our stuff. And we thank you for listening.
And go listen to our official podcast episode where we go into more detail on all of our events, our life, our journey, our opinions, everything else. Like and subscribe there. Give us a 5-star review. And until then, never stop playing.